Hey, welcome to our webinar tonight. We're glad to see so many people jump on. Robert, good to have you here.
Thanks, Blake. Good to be here. Good to see you. Good to see a lot, man.
Awesome. We know Robert's traveling right now. He's in a hotel room you're in Denver, is that right?
I'm in Denver, and I can see the airport out of the window. Yeah.
In an airport
All
hotel.
my background is dark, and I seem like I'm sitting in a closet. I'm far away from the window.
No, you look good.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So your hair always looks okay. Mine falls with you.
Well, we want to welcome everybody out tonight to our webinar, Get Found, Get Chosen, Get Paid. We're going to talk about creating a marketing plan and a patient finance plan that will help grow your practice. We have recently partnered with Robert and Sunbit, and we're excited about our new partnership. And I think there's some really good synergy between us and marketing and talking about finance and providing finance plans for patients that really work well together. So we're going to address that a little bit tonight. Let me share my screen here and kind of explain what we're going to do in this webinar. Oh, am I sharing my screen right now? Or no, not yet.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've done this enough that I know what I'm doing here. Okay. So what we're going to do is the first 25 minutes, I'm going to present and I'm going to talk about how to get found and get chosen using digital marketing strategies. And then we're going to go to Robert, and he's going to be talking about that third point of getting paid. Once someone finds you and chooses you, what is the conversion process of getting them into the office and obviously receiving dental treatment and getting paid for those services and some of the ways and you can position that and helping them through a financial plan. And then in the last 10 minutes, we're going to have some Q&A. So if you have any questions, please feel free to chat those questions in during the presentation. We may not address the questions in the moment, but we will make sure in those last 10 to 5 minutes, we'll make sure to address all the questions that come through. Before we get started, I'm just going to introduce myself, and I'm going to give Robert a chance to introduce himself. I am the president and one of the founders of My Social Practice. We started My Social Practice about 13 years ago. We started primarily in the social media space, helping dental practices create content on social media and teaching them how to come up with ideas to be effective on social media. We have since expanded our services. We help with reputation management. We help with websites. We help with SEO. Really a whole suite of services to help you grow your practice online. So that's a little bit about My Social Practice and about me. Robert, why don't you just introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. Thanks, Blake. So my name is Robert Nunziato. I lead the independent dental sales team and the dental partnerships efforts here at Sunbit, which includes working with organizations like My Social Practice to bring Sunbit's dental patient financing solution to dental offices. And we provide a simple solution, a simple, easy financing solution that we'll talk more about that can optimize the patient journey from end to end. And I think it's really complementary to the services that My Social Practice provides. So I'm excited to see how we can put it together in this call.
Awesome. Yeah, Robert, recently this year we have our annual Dental Digital Marketing Conference, and he was there presenting, and I got a chance to meet him there and enjoyed his presentation. All right, thanks, Robert. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start, and I would like to talk first about getting found and chosen. Often when we talk about getting found and chosen, we talk about the new patient journey and what that entails. And, what we like to think of the new patient journey is this beautiful walk through the mountains and beautiful scenery over this beautiful bridge to your practice, where they first become aware of your practice, by different, maybe a friend telling them about your practice or them seeing something about you online. Then after they become aware of you, they evaluate what you're about, whether checking out your website, looking at your social media accounts, again, asking their friends, looking at your reviews. Then after the evaluation step, they go into the conversion phase where they actually pick up the phone and they call your practice and they become a patient. And then the hope is after they're converted and they come in, they have an incredible experience in your practice. And that leads to the loyalty and advocacy phase where they now tell all their friends about you, who then start at the beginning of the funnel or of the journey, and they go through the same thing. And this is what we all dream happens every day to our practice. Now, unfortunately, I've worked with dentists for many years now, and the new patient journey looks a little more like this. It's not so smooth and beautiful as we think it might be. Let me show you what may be happening at your practice.
Come on!
Great execution. All face plants. Yes. Oh, David.
So you may have seen that TV show called Wipeout. Obviously that looks like a very difficult obstacle that not very many people get past. So is your new patient journey a peaceful stroll through the mountains, or is it a painful obstacle course? And what are the obstacles that are wiping out your potential patients? There could be many things along this journey that's stopping them from converting into a new patient or becoming a loyal patient of yours. Some of them might be a poor practice culture, a slow and poorly built website. You're not convenient with your communication. If someone wants to reach out to you in a quick and easy way on your website or through social media, you either take a long time or there's no easy way for them to talk with you how they want to talk with you. Maybe you can't be found very easily in local search. Maybe you don't have enough positive reviews, and so from that point, they stop looking into you. Maybe you have inconsistent social media posts. You have poor online engagement. Maybe you have no understanding of your values and how to communicate those values online. Maybe there's no authenticity and transparency, which we know a lot of potential patients are looking for these days. And maybe you're not showing your financial plans up front. Maybe they feel like they can't afford you in the first place, and so they kind of stop at that point. And we're going to address that a little bit later with Sunbit's solution. So in today's age, potential patients are now more prepared than ever. They have all the tools along this journey so that they can make a smart decision on what dentist they want to go to. And we have so many online tools that they can be at home searching for hours at night, any time of day, and they can learn as much as they can about you before they even pick up the phone and call you. So it's hard to know what's happening, at somebody's home when they're searching for you. At what point are they dropping off? Or are they being wiped out as they do all this research? So I want to first talk about getting found. What are patients doing to find you online these days? Where are people proactively looking for a dentist? Well, there's a few places that I want to point out that I think are really, really important that you need to focus on today. First, of course, Google. Google local search. Okay, what does that mean? A Google local search. So when someone does a local search, they find what's called your Google business profile. What is that? What's your Google business profile? So when someone goes to Google and they put in Allen Family Dental, for example, I'll show you here. What will show up on the first page of the results on the right-hand side is what we call the knowledge graph. If they know the name of your practice, in the knowledge graph will show up your listing, your Google business profile listing. I like to call this sometimes your website before your website, because so many people, maybe even current patients that are just looking for your address or looking for your hours or a link to your website, they'll just go here and get all the information that they need, and then they'll close their browser, right? Oftentimes they don't even go to your website because they find the information they need here. If you click on the map, it takes them to the Google map and they can get directions and know how to get to your practice. Now, another way people use Google is by searching dentist near me. Okay? This is maybe a search that you've done when you're trying to find a local business, the dentist near me, restaurant near me, whatever it might be. When you search dentist near me on the first page, there's a section called places. And in places, it will show 3 Google business profiles And then the top one there is actually a Google Business Profile as well, but it's an ad that a dentist could run in that section. So these 4 listings are really important because it shows up on the front page. And if you click into those go into those practices' Google Business Profiles. So why is it so important? Why is your Google Business Profile so important? Well, they have found when it comes to trust, about 10% of consumers say they trust the PPC and AdWords results, which are the very top results on that results page. If you're like me, a lot of times I skip over those because I know that those are just paid ads. I'm not saying there's not a place for that. Sometimes they do work and sometimes they do get clicks, but when it comes to trust, they're all about 10% of people trust those ads. If you scroll down a little bit further to the bottom of the page, these are what are called your organic results. Okay, organic results show up by a number of different strategies, by keywords on your website. It's determined by how many other websites are linking to your website. There's a lot of different factors. Different agencies can help you with organic results on your website. But again, when it comes to trust, about 27% of people trust the organic results. The place where people trust the very most are those Google Business Profiles in places. About 68% of people trust Google Maps results. And one of the biggest reasons for this is because this is where your Google reviews are hosted. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So those 3 spots that I talked about on the front page, this is what we call the Google Maps 3-pack. Okay, and we want to try to get in the Google Maps 3-pack as much as possible because 92% of searchers will pick businesses on the first page of local search results. And the Google Maps 3-pack gets 44% of total clicks. So if we can get in this 3-pack, there's a really good chance we'll be found and clicked on. So how can your profile rank higher in the Maps results? Well, there's a lot of strategies to do this, but you need to understand what Google ranks on. And there's three factors they rank on: relevance, distance, and prominence. So relevance, obviously, it depends on what somebody puts in the search bar. So if they put teeth whitening near me or dental implants near me, it's going to find a business or a practice that offers one of those services. Distance, they can determine where you're searching from. They can determine your IP address, whether you're searching from a phone or from your desktop, and they'll try to find businesses or practices around your area. And prominence is your reviews, a little bit on your reviews, a little bit about just how much buzz there is about your practice. There's a few different things that go into prominence, but that also affects it. So the way in which what we want to do to rank higher is we need to provide Google with as much information as possible so that when people search for us or search for a keyword, that will be found. And the way to do that is you need to download the Google Maps app on your phone. And if you are an admin over your account, if you're logged into a Gmail account that's an admin over your account, it will give you a whole bunch of settings that you can update all of your information. The other way to do that is, again, if you are an admin over your account and you simply go to Google and you go into the search bar and search the name of your practice, your settings will actually show up right there on the first page of the results. Now, other people won't see this, but because you're an admin over your account, you will be able to see all these different settings that you can update. And we have found that most dental practices have not updated and added the information that they need to in this section. You need to, I won't go into detail of all the different sections, but you need to add your locations that you serve in the profile. If you click on that one, you need to add photos. You need to add the services and edit services. You need to list all the different services. My example of saying if someone searched teeth whitening near me or dental implants near me, if you don't have those services added in your services section, there's a good chance that you're not going to show up, or you'll show up really low just because you haven't provided Google with that information. So I would strongly encourage you to know who the admin is over your page. If you're not an admin, become an admin and add as much information as possible here. So let me just explain to you how this works with the local search. This is a practice out in Raleigh, North Carolina, VP Dental, who we worked with. So the way it would work is if somebody searches Google for the term dentist, and let's say this woman is standing really close to the practice, because of her location to the practice, they could show up number 2 in her results. Where this man is standing further away, Google might put the practice number 13 for the term dentist. Well, what we can do is we can actually provide what we call a grid report to any practice that would like it based on certain key terms. So if you want to know how you rank for dental implants, if you want to know how you rank for Invisalign, for example, we can provide you a grid report that looks like this. All the red X's means that if someone were to search from that location for a certain term, you wouldn't show up at all. That's what the red X's mean. You can see as you come closer to the practice, you have some green 3s and 2s. That means that's where you'll show up just because they're closer. Well, there's different strategies that you can do and different things that you can add into your profile that will make those green and yellow dots even expand further away from your practice. So that someone searched even further away, you might even show up 3rd or 4th in their results. So if this is something that you're interested in, just to know how you rank in your specific area for certain key terms, simply scan this QR code with your phone and fill out the form, and we'll contact you and just get a few keywords from you, and then we can provide you a report with how you're ranking and maybe some tips and some ways you could potentially work with us so that we can get you ranking higher, because this is such a big place where people are searching is on Google. All right. One other place that people are proactively searching for a dentist is on social media. And they're trying to get recommendations from their friends, right? Or people that they trust and people that they know. You know, we all know that word of mouth marketing is one of the most effective ways for us to get business, right? It always has been. Well, word of mouth marketing is shifted so much online now. So there may be a post that someone does. Susan, you can see here, said, I need a recommendation for a good orthodontist in Bossier for Braden, for her son. And so Facebook, for example, will recognize that that's a post where Susan is asking for recommendations. It actually changes the post. You can see at the bottom there that it says looking for recommendations. And then people can post their response and actually link to dental practices' Facebook pages in this section. So you can see here, Kristen linked to Lang Orthodontics. Carly here tried to link to a practice, and for some reason, Dr. Foster didn't have a Facebook page or wasn't easily found, and so somehow it linked to Shreveport, Louisiana, which is a good example of showing why you need to be found easily on Facebook, and you need to have a good presence, because if someone wants to link to you, you need to be found. And then this bottom one here also referred Lang Orthodontics. So this is how people are getting their recommendations now from their friends, because it's such a quick and easy way to do it. Some of you may have heard of an app called Nextdoor. It's an app that I use quite a bit for my local community. It's a way for you to connect with people that live in your local area and in your neighborhood. And I'm seeing this a lot more on this app. People posting something like this. I've got a broken sore tooth that I need extracted. Anyone have any recommendations on a good emergency dentist? We just moved back, so we don't have new doctors or dentists yet. And you can see over here on the right, all the people that suggest dentists in that area. And these are all neighbors. These are all people that they know live close by, because you join groups of neighborhoods on this app. Here's another one here. I'm looking for recommendations. I need to find a good dentist for my wife. We live in the Conwood Heights, Sandy area. Thanks. And you can see again, a link to, you can actually create a profile for your business on this Nextdoor as well, and people can link to it. So, you know, a lot of times when I'm looking for a business, a local business, I'll actually go to Nextdoor and I'll search for, you know, whatever, contractor, maybe, you know, landscape or whatever it might be. And I'll look at conversations of people that are talking about those professions in my area. And that's how I'll pick the companies I want to work with, by how people are recommending them. So this is a really good place. And Nextdoor, it's starting to become really big right now. Another way people are finding local businesses is actually through Instagram. Instagram is kind of becoming a search engine now. My wife Every time if she's looking for a hairstylist, she'll actually go to Instagram and she'll search for hairstylist in the name of the city, and she'll look at all the examples and try to pick a hairstylist that she thinks would do well on her hair. So people are starting to search, for example, San Antonio dentist, San Diego dentist. One thing I wanted to point out is the very top results now on Instagram are all videos. They're Instagram Reels. It kind of shows the importance and emphasis that Instagram is putting on their videos. Also, people are searching hashtags. San Diego dentist hashtag, for example, and you can see there's 30,000 posts with the hashtag San Diego dentist. And you can also see there's a video, right? The very first example that it pulled up was a video. So people could click through these and find a good dentist that they feel that they relate to, or they feel like they can trust. So again, another push for being active on Instagram, because that's where people are searching. Okay, so those are, I feel, the top places online where people are searching for a dentist. Now let's talk about, once they find you, how you're chosen. How are people being influenced about the dentist to choose? Well, the number one way that people are being influenced now are reviews. Robert Cialdini, a famous psychologist, he wrote a book called Influence. He said, we view a behavior as more correct in a given situation to the degree that we see others performing it. And the social proof is what he calls that of today are those 5 stars. People make decisions based on the 5 stars. They found that 64% of consumers say they check a business's Google reviews before calling, and 59% of consumers report checking out at least 2 review sites before calling a company. They did a big survey of which dentist would you most likely pick from a Google search, and by far, 43% of people said the one with the best online reviews. So what we encourage practices to do is to achieve a goal of at least 40 reviews and at least a 4.0 average star rating, okay? We highly encourage that you have a lot more than this, but this is where you need to start. If you're not at 40 reviews and an average star rating of 4.0, we need to get some more reviews for you. They found that 40 reviews is the number of reviews consumers require to trust the company's star rating. So if you only have 10 reviews, they think that you just got your 10 best friends to write you a good review, and they don't really trust those reviews. You have to have at least 40. And then if you have a 3 as your average stars, or a 3.7 or a 3.9, people skip over 3. As harsh as it seems, they skip over those. 80% of consumers say they do not trust a business with the average review rating below 4 stars. Most of the time when I see an average star rating of 3, 3.5, whatever, it's just because the practice doesn't have enough reviews. So you just need to get more reviews. I'm sure you're a great dentist. You just need to drown out those negative reviews to bump up your average so you can get above 4. There's a lot of different ways to do that. We have an app at My Social Practice that we can provide for you that automates the process, that sends out invitations to your patients to get more reviews, and it works really, really well. This is a little kit too. It's a little printable kit if you want to start using it to share on social media and give your team members just something to talk about. This is a great little downloadable kit that has a goal chart and a few fun things. You can scan this and download that. Another way that we're seeing what people being influenced to choose a dentist is influencer marketing. This is so big right now. Influencer marketing, you're probably somewhat familiar with it. It's kind of endorsement marketing, but it's not necessarily with celebrities. It's with people that have built a following for themselves online, and primarily Instagram right now. Scott Cook, the co-founder of Intuit, said a brand is no longer what we tell the consumer it is, it's what consumers tell each other it is. It is so important to understand that. You know, the days of just us blasting our message are kind of over. We need to get other people to talk about us. So what I want you to do to maybe start thinking about influencer marketing is to think of a patient, a current patient who may be influential in your local community. These could be athletes, podcasters, reporters, photographers, bloggers, musicians, actors, stylists, or makeup artists. These are all professions that have tried to build a little bit of a following for themselves. And then once you have someone in mind, I want you to reach out to that patient and offer free or discounted services in exchange for posting about you. This can be as small or as big as you would like. It can be as simple as a free teeth whitening. It can be as large as a discount on a full smile makeover. I want to show you this example. This is Natalie Montez. She's actually my cousin, and she lives out in Arizona. And she's a photographer, and she's built a little bit of a following for her photography business. She has a little over 3,000 followers on Instagram. Well, her dentist realized this and realized she was influential in her kind of group of friends and in her community, and told her that he would like to do some work for her if she would be willing to post it on social media. So that's what she did. Every time she went in, he offered to do some veneer work for her. And every time she came in, she posted about her experience and tagged the doctor in each one of her posts. You can see here, I ugly cried, Dr. Harmon nailed it. My upper permanent teeth are in, I'm speechless. If you have any dental needs, I highly recommend my dentist. And then tags Dr. Matthew Harmon. So I saw these posts show up on my feed because I'm friends with Natalie. She's my cousin. And I reached out to her, I texted her and I said, Natalie, how did this work? How did the doctor approach you? Did you get anybody responding? Did the doctor get any new business? And she said, Blake, you won't believe how many people responded to my posts. And she just sent me some of the direct messages that people sent her. Beautiful. I've been wanting to do my teeth for a while. I'm so self-conscious. Yours looks so great. Do you mind if I ask how much? I'd love to start budgeting for it. Hey, lady, I'm on the hunt for a new dentist. My current dentist is struggling to keep crowns in my mouth. I had one fixed Monday. It fell out. Is your dentist cosmetology only or all things? Thanks for sharing your story. You inspire me. How does he do this? Does you drill your permanent teeth down to nubs? Just all these people wanting to know how the doctor does it, how her experience was, how much it costs. These are obviously questions that the doctor knows. Why didn't they reach out to the doctor to ask all these questions? They wanted to know from their trusted friend, the person that they have experience with, who they know. They want to know the answers to these questions. And I think this is so profound for you to understand. If you can get someone to talk about you, an influential person who has built a following already of trust among people, this is such a powerful, powerful way to do marketing. If you have someone in mind that's influential in your community, or maybe your team members can think of somebody, and if you'd like to create a little contract between you, this doesn't have to be done, but often it might be, just safe to create a little contract that you'll offer this X treatment if they do a certain amount of posts. Here's a little downloadable contract that you can have. And obviously you need to edit it to whatever your agreement is, but it's just somewhere to start so they can sign. We want to provide that for you. Okay, the last thing I want to touch on before we go to Robert's presentation is showing empathy in your marketing messages. So I talk about, how you are found and how you're chosen. We need a powerful way to get chosen is to show that we are empathetic towards our patients. Emotional connection with our patient comes before we can convert them. Connection comes before conversion. Antonio Damasio, he's a famous neuroscientist, he said, we are not thinking machines that feel, rather we are feeling machines that think. That emotional side is so important, especially when it comes to the marketing messages that we send. So there's two different types of marketing. There's sympathy-based marketing, and that's connecting with people based on how they think. And then there's empathy-based marketing, which is connecting with people based on how they feel. Okay. So if we think about sympathy-based marketing, which a lot of dentists seem to do, if we're trying to think about what people are thinking right now, people might be thinking, I really need to see the dentist. Okay. For whatever reason, I really need to see the dentist. So oftentimes dentists do something like Mike does for his golf shop.
Howdy, y'all. This here's Mike. Down at Mike's Golf Shop, where we buy golf. That's right. We buy golf clubs. Mike's Golf Shop. Come on over here. We buy golf clubs. Over at Mike's Golf Shop. Come on down here. We buy golf clubs. That's right. We buy golf clubs. We buy golf clubs. We buy golf clubs. We buy golf clubs. We buy golf clubs.
Right. So you have any question about what Mike does at his shop? That's effective in that way, right? But a lot of times, dentists, this is what we do. We think just on the surface level of what people are thinking. So we try with our marketing to just tell people what we do. We fill cavities. We do root canals. We do dental implants. We do clear aligners. This is what we do. Come visit us. Come to our shop, right? That's sympathy-based marketing. It's just trying to fulfill a need because someone's thinking about that they need a dentist. But let's talk now about what people are feeling, right? What your potential patients might be feeling. They're thinking, can I afford going to the dentist? Will it hurt? Who can I trust? What dentist can I trust? These are these are feelings that we want to address with our marketing messages. Empathy-based marketing is walking in your patient's shoes to understand what their motivations are. You don't want to just think like the patient. You want to be the patient. You want to understand how they feel. Brene Brown, a famous speaker and author, said, empathy fuels connection and sympathy drives disconnection. So with our marketing messages, and the reason why we are so excited about our partnership with Sunbit is because they have figured out a way to talk about finances in a way that addresses people's concern on if they can afford going to the dentist. And so off the bat, from our website to our social media, we can include this message in our marketing to make people feel more comfortable about going to the dentist because they feel like they can afford it. So Sunbit is an amazing solution and service to help you with that. And they provide a whole suite of marketing tools and assets that you can use across all your social media accounts and on your website so that you can talk about this. So I'm going to turn it over to Robert, but before I do, I just want to offer a free lunch and learn for your team. I'd love to buy your team lunch. Up to 5 people, I will pay $20 per person, up to $100 with a Grubhub gift card. And we'd love to give you a marketing consultation where we can look at all your tools, what you're doing on social media, how you're ranking on your website and on the Google Business Profile. And we can provide you a custom report and give you a little bit of consulting with that. So if you're interested in a team lunch on us, scan this QR code here, fill out the form, and we'll call you to schedule that and do a little virtual lunch and learn with you. Okay, that's all I have. Robert, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and we'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Blake. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we're good?
Yep, looks good.
Awesome. Thank you. So, guys, thanks for listening to my end of the presentation. Blake spent a lot of time talking about how to be found and chosen. And dentists in general, you spend a lot of time thinking about how do we create awareness that we exist. But once the patient hits your webpage, we also need to, or calls you or whoever, we need to also get them into the office, get them booked, have them schedule an appointment. So patient financing is a tool to make sure that you're able to capitalize on all of the hard work that you're doing with whether you're working with my social practice right now or whether you're marketing your practice in any number of ways. And in order to do that, we need to think about what the number one reason adults skip visiting their dentist looks like. And if you were reading closely those messages that were sent to Blake's cousin, Natalie, after she promoted the dentist, you'll see in almost all of them the same question: how much does it cost? So at the end of the day, 59% of adults indicate that the reason they forego dental care comes down to cost. So people know they need dental care, but 59% of people say it's too expensive, or I'm afraid that it's going to be too expensive. 22% of people say they're afraid of the dentist. Other people say things like it's inconvenient or I have trouble finding them, which, by the way, these things come down to marketing. But when we think about it, when I hear these excuses, a lot of these also have to do with cost, right? I'm afraid of the dentist because the dentist is a little scary, but also it's, $1,000 bill is scary. Now, cost is scary because a lot of people don't have access to the amount that dental work costs them on a day-to-day basis. So Dentistry is expensive. We'll talk about how much the average dental treatment costs in a second, but 56% of Americans, when we take a step back, kind of macro environment, 56% of Americans can't cover something up to $1,000 out of their, without dipping into their emergency expense savings. Now, that means that dentistry can be a hardship for a lot of families. If I'm making a decision between booking a vacation, getting gifts, doing anything for my family, or going to the dentist, that's a hard decision. And when asked, many Americans say they would actually dip into their savings in order to be able to cover a $1,000 emergency expense. And this has nothing to do with dentistry. This is just kind of the state of the economy. And it's not a COVID stat. This has been true for years. If anything, it's been exacerbated over the last few years with some of the kind of economic uncertainty. Now, once we start to think about this in parallel with dentistry and the industry average dental cost being $1,200 on average, we start to understand that there's something that doesn't add up between the amount of money most people have access to comfortably and the amount of money in dental treatment costs. And even if I have $1,200, by the way, I might not want to spend that to get a crown. That's a scary amount of money. So how do we convince a patient who needs something, who does want to get a crown, who does want to take care of their oral health, to spend that money? Now, there's tools that are supposed to be in place to help with that. There's things like dental insurance, but private pay insurance only covers about 50% of dental treatment costs today. The rest of it is covered through out-of-pocket payments, right? 50% of dental treatment has to be paid by out-of-pocket. Even if I have insurance, it might not cover everything for major surgery or major dental needs. Most of it's not going to be covered. So out-of-pocket cost becomes the number one reason dental treatment gets declined. Someone comes to my website, they understand that dentistry is going to be expensive. They don't think they have the cash. They might find a book market and not schedule an appointment, or they might come in and then leave without getting the recommended treatment. Today, with established patients, case acceptance hovers around 50%. For new patients, it's even lower. Only 1 in 4 new patients accepts dental treatment. That's according to Dental Economics. So those are the stats. That means that 75% of new patients to a recommended treatment decline the treatment or decline at least part of the treatment. Now, that's because of high out-of-pocket costs. What do I mean when I say out-of-pocket payments? There's 3 ways that someone can pay if their treatment is not covered by private pay insurance. There's cash or debit card, right? Some people have access to cash or the money in their bank account. Now, we just learned that most people don't even have it in their savings, so most people aren't going to be able to cover everything out of pocket in cash. There's credit card. So some people are able to put down their credit card. We all know that. We collect payments with credit cards every day. About 58% of Americans are revolving on their credit card. What that means is that they're paying interest on an ongoing basis, or on compounding interest on their payments, because they have overdue or past due payments that they didn't pay off in time. So a lot of people don't have the bandwidth to put more money on their credit card. Their credit cards are maxed out. And that means that almost every single dental office that you look at, and probably everyone on this call, is offering some form of traditional financing. Now, when I say traditional financing, I mean bank-backed financing. It's not what Sunbit does, but traditional financing is one of the 3 ways historically patients can pay for their out-of-pocket costs. And traditional financing is needed because these 2 things don't help everyone, and most people might not need them, and most people, or a lot of people, might want to split up a bill when they're looking at a $1,200 or greater cost. Now, one of the realities is in dental offices, we see traditional financing, and I'll talk about traditional financing more. We see traditional financing being offered. But everywhere else that your patients go, they see fast, amazing, easy payment plans. So there's good financing that exists. There's something that's non-traditional financing. There's modern digitized financing. If you go online, if you go on Amazon, if you go on Target, if you go on any website, you'll see the ability to split up bills easily. Pay as low as $42 a month, pay as low as $59 a month, get this vacuum, get this sneakers, right? So digital transactions, e-commerce payments, online payments, there is good financing. There's easy, accessible financing that people are using, and it's out there because people want it. But when it comes to local everyday needs, non-discretionary services, everyday needs are stuck in the past. There's not good financing for brick and mortar businesses. Financing for brick and mortar businesses looks like these traditional financing applications. Paper forms that ask intrusive questions and take a long time. You know, do you rent? Do you buy? What's your social security number? They haven't been updated in years. So it takes a long time for the patient. It takes a long time for the staff. Then there's a hard credit check. That's another barrier. I don't want to apply for financing that takes me a long time and is going to impact my credit score negatively. And I know that if I've applied for traditional financing in the past and I'm someone who doesn't have good credit, I'm not going to get approved. Most people who have applied for financing in the past and don't get approved will not apply for it again. And most people know that traditional financing, on top of the speed of time to apply and on top of the hard credit check, is hard to get approved for. So as a result, traditional financing has been unfriendly for patients and unfriendly for staff to offer or to apply for. And what that means is, even if I put the banner on my website saying I have, a bank-backed lender in the office for you, it's not going to draw people in. But what if we can modernize the journey? So how can Sunbit do that? How can we modernize the journey so that when someone reaches your website, when you do optimize your search results, so that you're at the top or in that 3-pack on Google, when someone reaches your website, they actually schedule an appointment. So what if we could take the traditional financing application process and make it faster with a 30-second application, remove the hard credit check, making it risk-free to apply, so doing what's called a soft credit pull that doesn't impact your credit score, but still gets you approved, and increase the approval rate. So going from a 40% approval rate to an 85% approval rate, approving almost everyone, which would improve the customer experience, but also make it easier for your staff to talk about and offer proactively. If we could do that, that makes this something that you can use as a digital marketing tool and increase your case acceptance, but also offer across the patient journey. So what Sunbit's trying to do is build a digital experience that matches the patient journey that you're trying to build. Now, at my social practice, Blake and their team will talk to you about a much more sophisticated patient journey. I'm in the financial technology space, so I look at a much more narrow window. They'll talk to you about every stage of the journey, from searching to ideation, but we'll talk about 3 phases. There's the scheduling phase, and there, Sunbit's going to help provide banners on your website and everywhere you have a digital footprint. Then there's the check-in and consultation, and that's where there's face-to-face interaction. We'll talk about our tool there in a second, but you need a tool to capture patients' attention while they're there checking in person, talking to your treatment coordinator and staff. And then you need tools for checkout. When the patient isn't there, when they're on their phone, they can allow them to get checked out on their phone on any device quickly, easily, and efficiently. So it's important to have a patient financing tool that's accessible across the journey. Now, what I want to do is talk to you about what it looks like across that journey, but talking about the in-person consultation tool and explaining how it works. And this looks similar to different applications across the journey, but I'll show you the in-person tool because I'm sitting here and I'm a human in a room. Blake, if you could just give me a shout when it shows my iPad on the screen.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to do one more try, and if not, then I'm going to call on Brennan on our team to help. Hey, Brennan, you there?
I am here.
Share your screen, please. I'm going to talk. Sure. I have someone as backup because I'm in a hotel room with bad Wi-Fi. So Brennan from my team is going to share her screen, and she's going to show, as I speak over it, how the product works. So Brennan will watch for your screen.
Brennan, you started sharing and then it stopped. Maybe.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
You're good.
It always takes a second to connect.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Can you guys see it?
There we go. Gotcha. So Brennan got an iPad in her hand. So Brennan, if you just turn on your camera so people can see you're holding this live. Brennan's holding an iPad in her hand. So Brennan's playing the role of the treatment coordinator. Brennan's Beyonce, the treatment coordinator. Who doesn't want to be Beyonce? Now, what Brennan's going to do is she's going to ask the patient for their ID. So Brennan, the patient, takes her ID, clicks scan card on the iPad, takes that ID and flips it over and scans the barcode on the back of it. And every state-issued ID has a barcode on the back. Now, once the barcode is scanned, Brendan's going to confirm the patient's phone number and email right there on the tablet. The patient's ID is going to pull or going to send all the address and personal information that's needed into the iPad so we can confirm it right there without having to enter anything. And Brendan will click agree and check her options so she can get approved. Just like that, Brendan's approved. $6,100 that she can use right now in the practice to get dental work done. Now, fast, took about 30 seconds even with the technical difficulties. And in person, there's no Wi-Fi to connect to. Didn't impact Brendan's credit score. This never will. And it's going to approve over 85% of patients, over about 500 FICO in that same fast, easy process. Now, let's say you get $1,200 average dental treatment cost that we know is scary for a lot of people and type that into the tablet and see what happens. Brendan's going to use $1,200 to pay for the crown that she needs today. Now, Brendan's getting offered no interest on a 12-month loan, but she can pick her plan. So instead of $1,200 today, that $1,200 can turn into 12 monthly payments of $90 with a small amount due down today. So $120 down today, no interest on the loan at all. So Brendan's only going to pay $1,200 over those 12 months. Now, if $90 a month is a little bit more than Brendan wants to spend, she can look for other options on this tablet. It's dynamic. So she can say, take a 36-month plan and pay $40 a month with $1 down today and $12.99 in interest. That means in interest, Brendan's paying $7.09 a month. But in total, she's only paying $14.55, and she'll never pay more than that bottom line number. Now, the bottom line is this tool makes it fast, transparent, and easy for the staff to present the treatment plan to the patient and for the patient to understand exactly what they're looking at. And bottom line is I'm much more likely to spend $40 a month to get a crown than $1,200 right now. I know I can cover that, and I only need to pay $1 down today. And for you in the office, Sunbit pays you the next day. You don't worry about collecting that loan. Sunbit does the work for you. So Brendan, thank you for jumping in and saving me.
You're welcome. I felt like a flight attendant doing the safety demo.
Awesome. So I'll jump back to the slides. I didn't mean to raise my hand on that. So I showed you, or Brendan showed you, I should say, the check-in and consultation tool. There's other tools along the journey. There's scheduling on the website where you can get qualified on your own computer. There's checkout tools so you can complete the treatment process or treatment checkout on your phone. But I want to think about this patient journey and think about the different touch points along the way and how patient financing can be built into them, because these are the same touch points you'd be working on your digital marketing strategy. You need to increase your web presence. So on your website, and Blake showed you it earlier, you can put banners along the way, letting the patient know that you offer financing. If they know you offer financing, they're more likely to come in. If they're pre-qualified before they even come in, which they can be through a customized link for your office, then they're twice as likely to come in. If I know I have $6,100 to spend in the office, I'm not hesitating to make an appointment. Then at the appointment confirmation, I schedule a treatment. I don't know that I'm pre-qualified. You can send out that custom link so patients are less scared to come in. Then along the way, you can have digital or non-digital signage too. So we have digital signs in the office, but we can also take those digital signs, or we can also create print signs. So patient financing available, please ask about it so that people know they can ask about that iPad that Brendan just showed you. Then when patients come in, they can see it, you can talk about it. Treatment options. So if someone's sitting in the chair, being able to pull out that iPad and talk to them about it and talk to them about how they can pay as low as $40 a month is a powerful tool. You need a simple approach, so something that allows people to pay on the go. So a link that can be sent to the patient just to check out once you know the treatment costs to their phone or when they're not in the office, and a link that you can send when you're on a follow-up call. So these things exist and they're existing along the patient journey, and these are tools that Sunbit can build into the process. So everything from web banners, so if you're using Sunbit, you have access to a digital media library, to on-website banners and HTML code that can be placed throughout your social media and also on your website. A custom URL, so apply.sunbit.com/Blake's practice, which can be sent out to any patient. And when that patient gets approved, when Brendan gets approved, you know that Brendan's been approved for $6,100 as is she. So you can pick up the phone and say, hey, Brendan, I saw you got approved. When do you want to schedule an appointment? You can also include that link in appointment reminders. You can place it on social media, and you can put it into email campaigns with banners. These are all tools that are provided. And if you're working with Sunbit in My Social Practice, we can provide you insight into the best way to put this throughout your patient journey. But the bottom line is these things should lead to results, right? The goal is to get found, get chosen by creating a great digital marketing strategy, and then get paid by presenting all of the tools that you need to present for a patient to not worry about cost. So rather than me continue to talk about the results, I want to hear from someone who's already using this. I'm going to make sure that I'm sharing the sound and hit play on this video.
So I'm Darren Boggs. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Altius Healthcare Management. We were actively soliciting alternative third-party financing options. We found that we couldn't crack the 25% approval ceiling. And so with Sunbit, once we were able to demonstrate that it can deliver approvals in the 85 to 90% range, the confidence came from the staff to be able to offer it, and the patients were more willing to apply because there was a lot less risk on the table. And the result has been tremendous. I mean, if they're results have been anything like ours. I mean, what dentist out there wouldn't want 7 times more sales in their practice? There was a particular day, I believe, where we sold $30,000 worth of sales with Sunbit just in one day, and I think it was even before lunch. It was just amazing, how much could be accomplished in a day. And I knew at that moment we were really onto something. Thank you, Sunbit.
Thank you for permitting me to share that video so that I didn't have to say those things myself. But at the end of the day, when you put good financing into place and remove the barriers around cost, it's much easier for a patient to accept treatment. And that's the goal, right? Every patient we bring in, we want them to be able to accept the treatment that they need so they can walk out of the practice feeling good about what they got, and you can feel good about helping the patient. So ultimately, back to Blake's point, the empathy-based marketing, we know that cost is the underlying barrier to getting dental treatment, and dental treatment's important. So we want to help you with that along the way. So our presentation, we've got a simple giveaway. If you want to learn more about Sunbit, if you complete a demo by the end of August, scan this QR code or follow this link to do that, to schedule a demo. We are going to be giving away a Theragun Mini to one office or one individual, the person who schedules that demo. So please do sign up for a demo and get entered into that raffle. But Blake, I'll leave this up for 1 second and then I'll stop sharing my screen. Cool. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Robert. We are right on time. This never happens. We didn't even go through it prior. We just ended up being right on time. So we have a little bit of time for some questions. If anybody wants to chat in any questions, we will wait just a minute to see if any questions come through. But thanks, Rob. I think, I talked about transparency, authenticity, and how important that is, that people are looking for businesses and practices that are really transparent and authentic up front. And I think, talking about pricing, sometimes a lot of dentists, have a hard time addressing finances maybe up front. But I think that's what people want to see. Most websites, the number one click tab is the pricing page, right? People want to know if they can afford the services, and they want the answers quick. And I think that that's a great way to address it without having to say exactly how much all of your services are, right? Because sometimes that could maybe get you into a little bit of trouble, having that on your website, and then they come in and they're like, wait, I thought you said it was this much. That sometimes you need to be a little careful with that. But I think this is a great way to address financial concerns without having to do that.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And I think, that's where there's tools that, with good marketing consulting, we're put in the office, right? Pay as low as this is great messaging that people understand. It can be as low as $30 a month. Is different than this is going to cost you $1,200. It's an implication that you can get your pricing down. And why don't you find out what you are approved for? So I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I actually had a question for you, and I was listening to it, and you have a lot of different pieces of advice, optimizing search engine results and getting more patients to reach out. But what have you seen the offices that have actually had the most success improving their digital footprint do differently than the other offices, right? Because I'm sure some offices it's putting it into practice. It's not just doing a one-time or exercise or activity.
Yeah, you mean what are they doing on an ongoing basis to get a little bit better digital footprint? Yeah, we recommend to most practices that you need to have someone in the office that's in charge of your marketing, whether it's creating content on social media to, watching the messages come in and responding quickly. You need to have someone that's actively posting and doing things online and thinking about marketing. You can't just, the practices that really succeed are not just the ones that hire us to just post for them and do things. It's someone that's working in the office with our team to make things work and see what's working, what's not working, and change things up a little bit and to make it better. So I would say, someone needs to be involved from the practice. I know that's a hard thing to do. You don't have much time, and it takes some work. But if you can assign someone in your practice to work with an agency like us, that's usually the best combination to get the most traction. And we'll help you with different ideas and different content strategies in order to do that. So
Thanks.
we have a couple questions actually just came through. You see those, Robert? How do you compare with OrthoFi?
OrthoFi. So there's a lot of financing out there. OrthoFi, I can't remember the specific details of them, so I'm going to avoid going kind of to, I don't want to misquote what they do. But when I look at the patient financing landscape, there's really 2 to 3 kinds of financing that exist. And Sunbit doesn't fall into any of those buckets. It exists in kind of a sphere of its own. And I say that with bias, but also confidently. And you can do your kind of background research. There's traditional financing, which is usually bank-backed with hard credit checks, slow applications, and a low approval rate. They approve, patients who are above 680 FICO score, that's their credit score, and everyone else gets declined, and most people don't want to apply, but they've been around forever. You'll find them in offices. Most of you probably know the names of them. The second bucket is the kind of faster, sleeker digital applications that still have a low approval rate. There's a couple of them that they've existed for like the last 10, 15 years. They came around basically to try and solve for the application challenges with traditional financing, but they didn't change the underwriting models. So maybe they went down to 650 FICO instead of 680. So they approve 50% of people instead of 40. And then there's a third bucket that's called waterfall financing, where they've kind of stapled together a few different applications. So it's not actually the lender, it's the aggregator of loans. There will be, hey, someone can apply, and if they are a prime customer, they get approved for a traditional financing type of loan with like no interest offer. And if they're subprime, we'll approve them with worst rates, more expensive to the office, but they have to apply again, and it's a clunky process. So most financing will fall into one of those 3 buckets. What Sunbit's done is actually combine both the benefits of a waterfall, which is approving almost everybody, with the ease of the digital friendly application. So it's one application owned by Sunbit, easy for both sides. That on the pricing side has a fair blended rate that's similar to what you pay with traditional financing, but with twice the approval rate. So that's my kind of high level answer. But as you look at them, try and place, any other financing into, is it traditional financing, faster digital with low approval rate, or, waterfall that's clunky for the staff and patient?
Cool. Another question came in. Is the patient applying for a line of credit, or is it a loan?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a simple installment loan. So they're not getting a line of credit. That's $6,100. They can use all of it, but they're not getting sent that $6,100 to their bank account. They're using the $1,200 of the amount that they need today. And that is split into the specific timeline that they wanted. If they go over it, by the way, there's no penalties for the patient. There's no late fees, no hidden fees, no compounding interest. What they see on the iPad is what they get, but it's a one-time simple installment loan.
Awesome. All right. I don't think we have any questions. This webinar has been recorded, and we're going to send out the recording in just a few days, so you can rewatch it or show it to someone else on your team. Or, and that offer that Sunbit, when does it end? It ends, you said August?
August, yeah. If you run a demo with Sunbit with our team, by the end of August, you're entered for a chance to win a Theragun Mini, which I wish I had one right now. They're fantastic. I heard that people are trying to give themselves at-home facials with them and giving themselves concussions because they're so powerful. But great.
It sounds like a TikTok challenge or something people are doing. It's not a good idea. All right. Awesome. Well, thanks, Robert. Good luck with the rest of your conference out there in Colorado. And yeah, let us know if you have any questions. You can reach out to Robert. Robert, what's the best email to reach out to you at?
Yeah, if you reach out to us, I'll keep it simple. My name's Hard, sales@sunbit.com, sales@sunbit.com. We'll get back to you. And but we're looking forward to having you on our Sunbeast Live show in the next couple of weeks. We'll get that scheduled. But
oh, yeah.
Thanks your team here in the show as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then you can get a hold of me at blake@mysocialpractice.com if you have any additional questions. All right. Thanks, Robert. You have a good night. And thanks, everyone, for attending.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Bye.